That's part of this recipe done. Today we're making Broadbean falafels. I had some for lunch the other day. I haven't made them too many times because I've been cooking Italian food for all these years, but I thought we should cook these. They taste awesome, and matched up with a beautiful healthy salad, it makes a really great take to work kind of lunch, because you can make them in advance a little bit. Now, to make this, I highly recommend using a food processor. It just makes really, really easy work of this. To start with, we're going to take one Spanish onion that's been peeled and chopped into about several pieces, 8, 12, whatever you're after really. Pop them into a food processor with 2 cloves of garlic that have been peeled, just kind of squashed or chopped, whatever you want. We'll let the processor do the work for us here and chop these to start with. So pop the lid on and pulse. I said pulse. Just take a spatula or a spoon and just sort of take the sides down so you don't end up with any big onion chunks there. Let's give it a little bit more of a pulse again. Now we can go in with 200 grams of chickpeas. I'm using cooked chickpeas that have been, I guess, sieved out to remove all the moisture from there. So they can go in. And at this stage, I'm also going to put 3 tablespoons of flour. You could always use gluten-free flour. And a teaspoon of bicarb soda. In you go. Once again, we'll just pulse a little bit. Now, a lot of recipes sort of call for putting the herbs, broad beans, everything in together. You blitz it till it becomes a beautiful puree that you can then fry. But I always like to have that texture through there. So I'll put the broad beans through at the very, very end. But before I do that, I'll go in with a good pinch of salt, and we want to get those spices that I kind of ground up before. If I didn't mention before, we have 1 teaspoon each of toasted coriander seed, cumin seed, and cayenne pepper. They can go in. Maybe some lemon zest. We'll do about 3/4 of a lemon worth of lemon zest. Lid goes back on and just pulse a few times to bring all that together. Just do the old scrape down again. Okay, now, last but not least, I'm going to go in with the blanched and potted broad beans. There's 200 grams there. And then I've got a combination here of coriander, parsley, and mint. About a handful of each. So I'm going to bunch them together. And just run through them with a knife to give the processor a little bit of a head start. And they go into the processor as well. Once you've got the broad beans and the herbs in there, just pulse it just a few times to combine everything together without really blitzing those broad beans, but just chopping them so we still have texture through there. And the same for the herbs too. Have a bit of a look, and you can always maneuver it around with a wooden spoon or one of these plastic spatulas. Two more times or 3 more times. There we go. Awesome. So I don't know if you guys can see into there. It's all come together, but we still have beautiful texture with whole bits of sort of broad bean in there. Pop it into a glass bowl, and you can set this aside, and then we'll hop on to the next stage of the recipe. Falafel mixture is ready to go, so there's a few other components we need to pull together to complete the dish. To start with, I've got some oil, which I'll be using for frying, of course. So there's about sort of 750 mils to a litre of oil, which I want to bring up to about 165 degrees Celsius, which is a really good frying temperature. So I've got that going over kind of a low heat. In the background, we don't need to worry about that too much yet. What we do need to think about is a beautiful flavouring I'm going to show you guys, which we'll finish at the very end to season the falafel. Often you see that beautiful kind of seasoned salt. We're going to make that now. So here I've got some cumin seeds. There's about a tablespoon of cumin seeds which I've toasted over a low to medium heat, shaking the pan every now and again. The house is gonna smell beautiful. And once that's done, you can pop them straight into a mortar. We don't need the pan anymore, that can go. With a good pinch of salt. Good pinch of dried chili. You could always use fresh chili if you wanted to, but it will tend to make it into a bit of a paste if you do that. And then I've got the zest of 1 lemon here as well. So pop that in, and you just want to grind all this together. You could use a spice grinder if you have one. I like to make things really difficult for myself and use a mortar and pestle. Also, I haven't been to the gym for about 6 months, so this is a good way to get a bit of a workout. That's it. You could take it super, super fine. I kind of like it a little bit, for lack of a better word, rustic. To move on to the falafels, you've got your oil hot. I've just done a little bit of a tester on these falafels and they've come up better than I ever could have hoped. So to get to here, you could use a couple of spoons and make quenelles of these. But the best way to do it and to get a nice rustic kind of look is take a golf ball sized piece of the mixture, just kind of roll it in your hand a little bit, squeeze it into a falafel shape, something like that will do. Just lower it straight into the oil. Watch your fingers. If you're a little bit worried, you can always lower it into the oil on a slotted spoon. I'd probably actually recommend that. Fry these for about kind of 3 minutes on each side, I guess, until they're brown, If you've got a deep fryer, use one as well. Once they're brown, dredge them out on kitchen paper to remove any excess oil, serve them up with that beautiful seasoned salt we made, and I always like to serve it with a combination of lemon juice, tahini, and yogurt. You can also add crushed garlic in as kind of a dipping sauce. From there, the world's your oyster. You can do vegetables on the side or a beautiful, refreshing salad. I will catch you guys next week.